This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Saints Pod. My name is Greg, and as always today joined by my good friend and wonderful co-host, Zach. Mate, how are you doing?
Hello, mate. Yeah, all right. I've been enjoying... It's bad. I haven't paid basically attention to any of the international stuff that supposedly matters. All of the international stuff I paid attention to are the crazy results like Bosnia knocking out Italy and the Congo beating Jamaica to qualify for their first World Cup in forever, and Iraq qualifying for the World Cup, like all of those kind of stories. And you're going to tell me all about what the Saints been up to, and I'm like, oh yeah, forget that we have but have any of them been of the only ones that were of note were the teams that got knocked out, right? So I'm kind of I just moved swiftly on to other stuff. So yeah, I'm right, I'm good.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? International football. I think we were talking briefly before recording, and in the regular football season and in especially international breaks, right? I've been pretty vocal about it on the show. I think I really just have little to no interest in international football whatsoever, and pay passing, fleeting attention to it. But that said, when regular season football dries up, am I going to be getting up at 2:00 in the morning to watch fixtures like Australia versus Turkey and Haiti versus Scotland in the World Cup? Absolutely, I'm going to be.
It's such a jarring switch as well, because you're so usually vocally against international football and how little you care about it. And then a tournament hits, and you're like, yeah, I really enjoyed that Spain game. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fair. It's Spain. He's like, what else should we be watching? Denmark versus Czech Republic. I'm like, oh yeah, that's okay, fair enough. Then you're like, and then there was some show. There was one on at 3 a.m. Can't remember the countries. I'm like, right, okay, Greg, I get it. It's just you just miss it. I get it.
It's just competitive football, isn't it? Right? Because most of the time, even the qualifiers, right, are just glorified friendlies. Let's be honest.
But no, they're glorified friendlies if you support England, right? Because that's where I'm kind of at. Because the vast majority of other ones, look at
the World Cup where you're having 148 teams play or something ridiculous across 3 continents. Our qualifiers really it's their 8th chance to qualify.
I feel like if you're an Irish fan at this point, mate, yeah, it's quite. We're treated to the fact that well, apparently we really struggle without Harry Kane. That's all I've learned about the England games over the last 2 games, because I kind of forgot it was on again. We talked about the other day, and then the article that I saw that reminded me that we played them was, well, there was one that was a tweet about the Japanese ultras that were just basically, when they say ultras, it's not what you think of as ultras. For me, it's what you'd actually call fans, but fanatics, dress up, drums, all that kind of stuff. But it's not really the guys in cages, is it? It's more of just a.
It's not like your European ultra experience.
No, but even that, those Arsenal ultras recently got slated for going down the road with drums and things like that, and acted like they're all the Americanization of it all a bit, right? Is I think what people are. It's the whole is there's a very big antithesis of it in football, and I know that hooligan culture in a lot of places is kind of dying down. But yeah, when people say fanatic, fanatic to me is would be a better way to sort of characterize these people than ultras, because of the connotations it has. But I saw that, and then I saw them cleaning up and realized it was cleaning up Wembley Stadium, and I was like, oh, because that always goes viral, right? After every single World Cup that Japan have ever been involved in, it's oh yeah, afterwards they tidy up the stadium and the team tidy up the away locker room, and it's how is this still a story? We know this happens every time. It's just what they do.
Yeah,
we should all do that, and then we'll proceed to never do that and just wander out drunk out of most stadiums.
Right. Wouldn't it be nice if you just used the bins provided and then nobody needed to do it? Isn't that a crazy thought? I don't know.
Mate, come on. Come on,
Far
that's
too logical.
some
I'd have to carry my empty box all the way down to the concourse. How could I possibly cope?
And then like when you're at school and people go about the cleaners like, oh well, they're paid to do that, and it's one of those things where when I worked in like a shop, I was also the employee and the cleaner, and when I had to stay late and clean, pay. And if you're a cleaner that's paid to it, doesn't mean you want more mess created by people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, this just shows you
Anyway.
how much we're trying to beat around the bush.
Let's say that has gone off the rails rapidly. But anyway, we had some players that played international football.
Nice, okay, did we? Let's go through them, shall we?
Let's do it. I've got a whopping 14 lines of notes. So
come on, Greg. Jeez, man, you're outplaying me. It's ridiculous. Used to be me being like, "Here's the info pack for today," and now I'm having to deal with Greg being like, "Well, I sat down for half an hour and my wife was watching something on the TV."
Compared to my detailed notes on loans that I covered yesterday, 14 lines of notes feels like bare bones. But look, first off, a man who I was surprised to see back at open training, but it's because he only had one game in the international break. Daniel Peretz played for 46 minutes in a friendly for Israel against Georgia, which ended 2-2. One of the goals.
The whole team, or was it just like the keepers off after 45? Because that's nuts.
They made 11 substitutions.
Right, so they played side A and side B. I see.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It was very much like proper friendly. Only one of the goals conceded in the 2-2 draw was on his time on pitch, and I struggled to even find that information really written down anywhere. It wasn't hugely covered in England, surprisingly, a friendly between Israel and Georgia. So went under the radar a bit, but, nice that he's involved in the mix.
Just nice
playing international.
To do international again, isn't it? Like, for a while, it was like 3 of them.
Look, it's got to be a confidence boost to go and represent your country, right? Yes. Regardless of a friendly or swapping side A and side B at 46 minutes. There's no, regardless of how patriotic you are or on, there's no greater honour than representing your country for the thing you do for a living. So
I also think that for some people it's a big motivator and driver, right? Like, I'm sure we'll get on to Laren, but like, we know that it has been a big motivator for him to do well at Saints, to get back into the Canada squad for a home World Cup. So I never really see it as a negative. I do see weird things like half of Arsenal's team randomly coming back early, slightly worrying. Hopefully not to practice for our game.
All in prep for Atletico Madrid because they're looking past us so we can sneak the 1-0 win. Anyway, more on that tomorrow. Nice. Next on the list, Carl Laren. You're right, we will talk about it, he played 64 minutes in a 2-2 draw with Iceland and received a FOTMOB rating of 6, which was pretty average for the Canada team. Unfortunately, obviously I didn't watch the game, but from looking at the report and the stats, immediately after he was substituted, Canada won a penalty and then scored that penalty and another goal. So I don't necessarily think that is because he was substituted, but the timing was maybe amusing. I don't know. It was.
It's one of those things that we know international football is different. Don't know how the setup's happening. We know when we signed him that a lot of Canada fans were like, "Oh yeah, he's terrible. It doesn't score." And I'm like, "He's been doing all right for us." So maybe he just needs the right coach in Canada. Maybe it isn't Jesse March, mate. Like, how different things could have been if he was still Saints manager, right? Or ever became Saints manager.
Yeah, that is a whole alternative universe that maybe we could talk about when we're searching for episodes in the summer. Laren was also an unused substitute in the 0-0 draw with Tunisia. So, if he's back in time for the Arsenal game, well rested at least. Moving on, next on the list, what you alluded to earlier are Irish boys, Azaz and Manning, of course, narrowly missing out in a penalty shootout against the Czech Republic. Azaz played 90 minutes in the draw against Czechia and, of course, missed a penalty in the shootout. Manning was on the pitch for 68 minutes of that game. Of course, means they miss out on their opportunity to go to the World Cup, unfortunately, which is it's going to be pretty crushing.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Hence with you being like, basically everyone and their dogs qualified. I'm like, not everyone.
Yeah, look, that's got to be gutting to come so like horribly close as well.
Yes,
genuinely, I feel for them. And then, of course, they also played against Macedonia, a game where Manning was an unused sub, and Azaz played 61 minutes, and that game ended 0-0. In what I can only imagine in a friendly against Macedonia after narrowly missing out on qualification for the World Cup was not a pretty watch and a rather heads down affair.
Well,
pretty demotivating.
Hit his confidence too hard because we talked about how Azaz is very much a confidence-based player, has been playing better recently, and now is going to have to come back and have to mentally deal with that. But also, I guess it frees up them to think about Saints specifically and not worry about what's going to happen this summer.
Yeah,
that's the positive spin we can put on it.
Focus. It's fine, mate. If we just get Azaz scoring the winner against Arsenal to put the confidence straight back in for the rest of the run-in, it doesn't matter, does it? It writes the rest off.
Interesting. We know what your lineup's going to be tomorrow.
Right, moving on, Northern Ireland, across the border. Shea Charles, of course, our boy for them, and his brother, Pierce Charles, in goal, amusingly. Both played 90 minutes against Italy in a 2-0 loss, but to be honest, I think a 2-0 loss against Italy is quite a respectable result, right?
Well, it really depends, because like Italy have now failed to qualify for their third successive World Cup. People are calling it like an apocalypse in Italy, a disaster. It's like the end of an era. Tons of really, really elaborate headlines in Italy, which really does make our loss to them in the Euros like just a little bit worse, because they haven't managed to qualify for one for ages. So yeah, it's frustrating for sure. But you know, if you match them up on paper, you'd kind of always expect Italy to win. But you know, fair play to Bosnia and Herzegovina, who are absolutely living up. Like, I don't know if you've seen, there's been videos knocking around, Greg, of like the celebrations they've had in their like town squares and their capital and stuff like that. Because obviously for them it's a big deal, right? There's a couple of qualifications that have happened. Democratic Republic of Congo, I think I don't know if I pointed out earlier at the beginning of the episode, and Iraq, another one. Like some mad kind of exciting. As much as we go, everyone and their dogs qualified. For some people, it's going to be like a huge thing, and I get that.
No, you're right. It's just greed and privilege, really, isn't it? Like, you think about it, and that's the important thing. And I guess the positive you can take when you look at the expansion of teams of the World Cup is that, and you know, as someone who, when the World Cup is on, you know, begins to believe in international football again, they're the stories that you look out for, right? Like these nations who didn't even expect to qualify, like just qualifying for them is massive. And you just know that one of them is going to go on a ridiculous run and get, you know, into some form of knockout stages. And, you know, that's what makes it great. That's what makes knockout football so enjoyable. I think that is why the switch turns, right? There's all of a sudden there's meaning and stuff behind the football, right? There's actual depth behind it that makes it that much more enjoyable.
It makes me think of a couple of AFCONs ago, many AFCONs ago. There was one where Burkina Faso did really, really well, like unexpectedly, and got like really far into it. I can't remember if they made it to the final or not. I don't think they won, or they did win. I can't remember, if I'm entirely honest. But it was like, one, how I learned about Burkina Faso as the country, and two, like just sort of the edge of the seat, kind of like, oh my God, are they going to do it sort of thing. And that was like a big deal. And it's you kind of you forget how kind of big it is for specific countries that haven't been involved for so long, or haven't been involved at all to kind of qualify for one. And that's where like we have a privilege, Greg, to go. I don't care about international football because you're right. We'll usually automatically qualify one way or another. And like the only time that we'll have issues is like when we got beaten by Japan yesterday. I didn't read the match report at least, and it just seemed to be like, oh, it's because we didn't have Harry Kane, and that kind of seemed to be like didn't even really treat it. Obviously, it was a friendly anyway, but we don't even like treat a lot of our games seriously. But yeah,
I think that's part of the problem though, because like so many of the games, the international games that we specifically England sort of end up playing in, are so almost trivial, right? It always feels so pointless that actually when we do come up against these good teams in these also like strange friendlies and whatever, it's harder to get like properly up for it. We've talked before about like the edge of mentality and why it means so much more to these like elite level athletes. Is that like part of the problem?
Maybe, but it's because it's like for England, it's not necessarily even about creating a team. It's about who's going to play for England, right? Like the headlines are all like, who's going to be in the plane, who's going to start, who's going to this. It's never like the team of England is going to do this. I do think that just because of the nature of the way that like the Premier League is, and the nature of personalities, and the nature of they had all the issues they spoke about, right? The golden generation spoke about like quote unquote all of the struggles with like rivalries and stuff, and then you've seen Tuchel kind of criticised because he's been picking and choosing players that a lot of people are kind of like have question marks over, rather than sort of what the media have dubbed the team that should be picked. And yeah, I just think like there's far more discussions about that most of the time than playing the actual games. And then we've under Southgate we like scraped through everything. Everything just felt painful and a slog. And like you didn't even really get like excited even up to the last game, right? It was just very much like, oh, we're not going to win this.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just a bit of it's difficult.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of like juxtaposition, isn't it?
I just think it means more to others, but also it's like there isn't that level of expectation. It would be like if we were City fans and they won every year and then they complain when they don't win, and it's a huge big deal. You see it with Arsenal fans, right? The reason Arsenal fan TV is so like notorious is because there's an expectation they should be finishing the top four every year and challenging for the title. And so like when they lose to when they lose to teams like little old Southampton, it's like it's an absolute meltdown, this and the other, as opposed to just accepting it's part of football. Whereas like, we look at the kind of like FA Cup giant killings. And I think that for me, watching England like qualify for all that kind of stuff is just like how many people are like really excited to go watch Man City play Leyton Orient. Leyton Orient fans hugely excited. Man City fans couldn't care less. And I think that's very much the opinion of a lot of England until we get into those major tournaments, right? Like everyone still talks about the shock of being knocked out by Iceland in the group stages like ages ago, but more so, well, no, it was before, and it was beforehand. And then like there's that video going around of the guy who was like a Charlton fan. I think it was a Charlton fan or a Burnley fan that's like spent the season watching absolute dross and was annoyed because he was like wanted to cheer himself by watching England and we lose to Iceland. And it's just like situations like that. I think it's like we just I think we 100% take it for granted, and I think that it is obviously probably sometimes taken for granted, not by the players that they're playing for England, but like, oh, well, we're coming up against this country, we should probably just beat them, right? As opposed to a lot of these other teams that are just really excited to be there. I just think international football means different things to different people, right? Like we also have a team of people who a lot of the time, vast majority of the squad have played in England and played for Premier League teams and stuff. You've got a lot of other international teams where they have players that don't really play in their domestic leagues at all. So they are for their home team like superstars. I don't know. It's weird. See, it turns out I do pay slightly more attention to international football than you, and I do have slightly more opinions than you on it by the sounds of it. But I do think it's like a weird juxtaposition to be in with it, and how we compare it in comparison to like domestic football, how different it is. But my favourite thing is like people that are so uninformed about football. And it's not their fault. They're just not interested in it as a hobby. They're like, so do England play like Man United? That's always like my favourite topic.
Oh, it's classic. Absolute classic. Yeah. How
Anyway,
does club and international football work? Yeah. Brilliant.
So Northern Ireland, you were saying, sorry.
No, they lost to Italy, and then Shea Charles also played 46 minutes in a friendly against Wales, which was a 1-1 draw.
And you can tell all of these like post not mattering games are just
yeah.
We've been
So what you
knocked out
think? So, it's why post-season friendlies will never take off as a thing, right? Because you build yourself up for the important games with consequences, and then have to like pick yourself up after the emotional release of that, be it positive or be it negative, and play in a friendly. Like it's a strange one, isn't it? It's the strange juxtaposition, like I say, of international football, of the different weightings of games and how important some of them are compared to absolute games that mean nothing. In some cases, even to the teams taking part, right? Which is the sort of odd thing about it. And then finally on the list, Joshua Kwasi went away with the German under-21 team. Played a full 180 minutes of the 180 minutes available to him in the two games they played.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they bagged a 3-0 win against the Northern Irish under-21s and a 2-0 win against the Greece under-21s where he got booked. But,
that's all right.
That's good. It's a solid part of that lineup. It's good stuff. It being under-21s and the nature of the beast, there is little to no coverage available to delve into any of those 90 minutes, apart from like BBC did have live text updates for the Greece under-21s versus Germany under-21s. And they were sparse. Let's put it that way. This player won a free kick. This player showed a yellow card. This player has made a save. Like, that's it.
Oh dear. We can put men on the moon again, but we still can't report on all football all the time.
Oh, I mean, it's because there's just so much football all the time, right? We talked about this the other day. How could you possibly report on all of the football all of the time? Because it's never ending.
Life finds a way.
If you think about like how much, even like store videos, think about how many like terabytes of video it would take to store just like the entire English pyramid of football from a Saturday to be able to browse back through, right?
Well, yeah, but you say that, but
if I'm not being funny, mate. I received videos this weekend. I received videos this weekend of all of the goals from my Nippers game in the under-8s team. So, I don't know how much more coverage you want of football.
That is sure. Well, you got to think like if the next generation of scouts for teams are not like the best going with the amount of like data they have at their hands, I don't know what is. Like, I know that you can't necessarily pick out the next best player all the time, but like, come on, if you are able to watch a player develop through the entirety of their life, it's kind of crazy. Before you know it, mate, they'll be fit with trackers that will be tracking all of their oxygen levels and everything from birth. It's nuts.
Yeah, we'll get like Opta level statistical analysis of our under-8 league game. What more could you ask for?
There's something so dystopian about that, but you're right. Look, sometimes you just want football to be fun, right? I don't know where I'm going with this.
You get pulled over in training. Stop chasing butterflies. Look, your work rate wasn't good enough on Saturday. You only got 13 touches of the ball.
No, we already know that there's like a bunch of backseat managers and dads. Like my wife told me off going that my mother-in-law's walking football because I started shouting.
The whole point. That's what it's all about, mate. That's why we love it.
No, you're right. And again, like as you pointed out, despite it being not the best type of football for you personally, when that World Cup rolls around, you're going to be asking me if I caught the Haiti game at 2 a.m.
100%.
And now we know who's going to definitely be confirmed for it. And now all of the international football has finished for the run-in towards the end of the season. So now we can concentrate on more important things up until that point. However, it's nice to see that most of our lads went away and did all right, even if, hopefully they take the losses on the chin, both different sets of the Irish guys. So hopefully, go on from that. Fight for promotion places. Still fight for second. The fight's still on, and then if not, we'll just win. We'll just win the playoffs, right?
Look, if we're being honest, right, especially from the Republic of Ireland perspective, there's absolutely no shame in losing on penalties to the Czech Republic, who are a team who have consistently qualified for these tournaments and done well and gone deep in these tournaments for decades at this point.
Penalties is such a roll of the dice. Depends on the mentality on the night, right?
Yeah, so many factors.
Unless you've got Kepa in goal, then what's the outcome's going to be. But anyone else,
yeah. But look, hopefully they can, like you say, take it the right way, take the confidence from that, and not be too disheartened. As disappointing as it is, there's absolutely no shame in it whatsoever, and I'm sure that all of the Republic of Ireland is proud of how close they came, to be honest.
They are,
it's
all
a good
of the players that are being picked internationally, as you pointed out, are being picked as the best players for their country out of every other players that could play football for that country. And I think no matter what, you need to take pride in that, and you should take pride in that. And we will take pride in them for them if they don't. And as I said, all of it's valuable playing time and experience. None of them have picked up injuries, which is the main thing. That's the only thing you ever really hugely worry about. And now we can just focus on the end of the season and see where we end up, right?
Yes, that's it. Now this is it. There's no breaks or pauses to talk about internationals or any nonsense like this now. It's pedal to the metal from this point forward. We've got 3 trips to Wembley to plan, and all of the fun that comes with it for the rest of the month.
I can't keep clipping up you saying we're going to Wembley 3 times. I've already done
it twice. You just got to put this good energy into the universe, and that's how it comes to play. But
I like that idea, mate. It's got to be better than half the energy that goes out nowadays.
Look, we talked at the start of the season that if going up via the playoffs meant my kid's second trip to Wembley to watch Saints in 3 years, it sets a bad expectation. I don't know what 3 times in a year would say for that.
3 times in a year we'll say, hey Dad, why is it that when we ask you to go here, you say no because it's too expensive, but when we have to go watch football in London 3 times in less than a month or 2, it's not a problem. And then you can have fun explaining how you're able to afford it.
Right.
In actual fact, when you're working late nights, mate, you can turn around and go, and this is why Daddy works late nights.
Mate, I've got to tell you that question would not be leaving my kids' lips. They fully take after me and live and breathe as much football as I do. It's truly a genetic disorder.
Oh, dear. Perfect.
That's it. All right, mate. Look, that is all we have got time for today. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. And as always, mate, thank you for joining me. We will be back tomorrow for the big one, the big match preview for the sold-out FA Cup semi-final against Arsenal. Truly, the excitement is starting to build. I don't know if that's just localized to my household, or if the rest of the Saints fans are sort of starting to build the anticipation as much. But
everybody keep an eye on all of the people that aren't celebrating or singing all the songs who might be sitting in the home end. That's all I'm saying.
Indeed.
It's that kind of game, isn't it?
That's it. Absolutely. But yeah, our big preview of that coming up tomorrow. But until then, folks, let us know in the comments, in the socials, what you thought of the international break. Did you enjoy the sun and the opportunity to mow your lawn? And maybe did you watch any of the football? Let us know. We are Daily Saints Pod absolutely everywhere. X, Blue Sky, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Look, we took a week off to specifically not watch the football. I did see, I think I shared with you, mate, one post someone put on Reddit of ranking championship clubs on their distance to the local Nando's.
Yeah, and then they all started shoving all of it into ChatGPT, and then we got Greg's, and then we got like I don't know every other type of the one that really matters. Let's face it, is a Weatherspoons. I'm baffled that wasn't made.
Crazy.
Maybe we could do that. Maybe we could get a viral post out of it.
That's it. But yeah, so look, back to real football soon. Then that is what matters. But until tomorrow, everyone, have a wonderful day, and we will see you then.
This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg.